things we don't solve, many things we don't lose. It in the be like highway.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode. This is actually a part of um, Team Resistance segment that we've been doing weekly every Friday. We have Dan Kovalik, Professor Dan Kovalik, who is an author and also former professor of Pittsburgh. He has traveled all over the Middle East and is also expert on Latin America as well too. I'm very happy to have him back on the show. There is so much to talk about, so I want to get right into it. I know all y'all been paying attention, looking at perspectives on what's going on between China and the American summit. So I think that would be a very great thing to start off with. How you doing today, Professor Dan?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Very, very well. People, if you hear splashing, that is my beloved turtle. She's not going to splash as much though.
Oh,
so
nice.
okay.
What kind of a turtle you got?
Ready or slider?
Oh yeah, we used to have one of them, and then it got really big.
Yes,
We had to
that's
release
exactly.
it into the wild. Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm dealing with right now. I'm like, should I get a bigger tank? What's going on?
Yeah, you'll need a bigger boat, as they say.
You know, it's really really interesting. Looking at this summit with China. First of all, we had criticisms of how much the Chinese government is doing in support of the Middle East as a whole, especially with Palestinian struggle. Has any of China's involvement changed for your perspective for Iran in any case?
Well, they're providing Iran with important weaponry. So that's, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's a good thing. You know, beyond that, I don't know. I mean, that's good. In terms of the Palestinians, I do feel disappointed with the world in general that they've
Mhm.
allowed this genocide to go on like this. And I guess I'm most disappointed in Russia and China. I thought maybe they would, do more to stop this, and it continues. And now South Lebanon is being destroyed by Israel, of course.
Yes.
I mean, the truth is, Iran is really the one country that's done more than any other country to help the
Yeah.
Palestinians and the Lebanese. I mean, I assume a lot of your listeners understand that. I mean, Iran has really stepped up. I mean, to the point of getting attacked. I mean, but when you really um, look past all the propaganda,
Right.
that the U.S. is putting forward as to why they're in Iran. I mean, they're there because Iran is leading the resistance against Israel. That's it. And so Iran has paid a huge price for helping the Palestinians, as Syria did as well, by the way. That was a big reason they got rid of Assad, was
Yes.
because of his and his father's long-standing support for the Palestinian people. So you pay a
Yeah.
price when you stand up for the
We
Palestinians, but it's worth it. Let me just say.
yes. Yes, it is. And Dan, not Dan. Yeah, Danny Haifong. Pretty sure you're familiar with him.
I know
He,
Danny.
yeah, he had a comment because he was explaining. Amy, hello. Sorry, we're in the
Hi.
middle of a part. So, uh, Welcome back, Amy, my co-host.
Hello.
He
Hi.
had Amy Dan. Nice to meet you. um, so he had a comment where he was basically saying that a lot of the reasons why Israel has somewhat of a relationship with China has to do with the fact that they have to continue to work with them so Iran can have some type of financial cooperation and shipment still going on within the Middle East. I was wondering if you knew anything about that because I thought that was interesting thing to say, and I felt like it wasn't really a significant reason to me. But
Yeah, I don't
uh,
understand. I don't even understand the logic, to be honest. I mean, China is, the last I checked, is Israel's biggest trading partner.
right,
And, so, why is that? Why would China do that? To me, it's not excusable. But China, in my view, is never, at least since the Korean War, because China did a lot for the Koreans. I mean, that must be said. But that was in
I
return
mean, yeah,
for the Koreans who helped out Mao in the liberation struggle and in fighting Japan. So
Japan,
China
yeah,
really owed the Koreans a debt, and they did help a lot in the war against the United States. But really, since that time, I would say that China, they they never showed the type of solidarity internationally that the Soviet Union did, and in fact had a reactionary foreign policy for a time. They supported Pinochet in Chile,
hmm
for example. They remember they attacked Vietnam after, Vietnam defeated the French, defeated the U.S., and then there were border skirmishes between Cambodia,
right,
then under the rule of Pol Pot,
right.
and Vietnam, and China came in to support Pol Pot and had a war with Vietnam.
Yeah, and I believe that was the last conflict they have had, right? That was about 60
Yes,
years
that is
ago.
true.
Right.
So the one time in a long time that they had a conflict, it was on the wrong side. I'm
Mm,
sorry, right? I mean, they were
mm.
attacking the liberation forces of Vietnam. So I guess I shouldn't be too disheartened or disillusioned, because China, again, has never been great in terms of international solidarity, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm.
The Soviet Union was very, very good. And in fact, in part, the truth is, one of the, I think it can be say that it might have given more than it should have, to the extent that it probably quickened its demise, because it really was actively supporting so many struggles at one time.
And
And
this was the USSR, right?
yes,
Yeah,
it became overstretched,
yeah,
but I give it a lot of credit. But Russia now is not the Soviet Union, and again, we have to remember
yeah.
that. And so, again, I shouldn't be too surprised that they're not actively helping the Palestinians.
Well, what did you think about the response from Putin with that he did this past actually yesterday with saying that he wants to use one of his most powerful nuclear weapons to be active as a response to the U.S. With a stealth submarine bomber being off the coast of one of the Middle Eastern colonies of the UK.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's
Crazy.
positive, that
Mm,
he's flexing a little bit, but
mm,
that's all he really does. Is he,
right.
he says a lot of stuff, but what is he doing? And then, in Syria, of course, I think quite strangely, after Russia did so much to support Assad, and sent in troops and suffered casualties and deaths, they kind of left unceremoniously,
Hmm.
and allowed the government there to collapse, and for the basically Al Qaeda to come in and take over. So that now, they were fighting Ukraine at the time, and so I guess that probably contributed to it, that they didn't have the wherewithal that they had prior to the special military operation in Ukraine. But still, again, a lot of us were kind of baffled by that, by their unceremonious departure. And now they, of course, continue to have their military bases in Syria. So they've made their
Yeah,
own deal
they
with the
made a
new
deal with
government
right, right. Which
without Jelani, and even
yeah,
Putin gave him a state, welcomed him to Moscow, gave him a state dinner and everything. So
yeah. Disgusting.
that was strange too.
Very much strange. Which is why, Dan, I wrote that article about that I put on the Substack about what is the position of Russia, because they're not, I don't consider them a part of the resistance, really. I consider them a part of a strategic capitalist power that has their own interests and their own sovereignty, which should be respected. But they are willing to help, and when they do, it actually shows how much the hypocrisy is with NATO and with America. And but we shouldn't see them as like, yeah, they are part of like the left. They are part of the
No, they're
struggle with
not.
the government of
They
Russia.
haven't been since the collapse of the Soviet Union.
Right.
And again, people just need to get that in their heads, that things have changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sadly, I mean, but that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. To summit, Amy, do you have any thoughts or questions real quick?
No.
Because I know we came on the middle bone. The summit.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts coming in here with this summit? Because you see that, Trump looks like a hypocrite again, because he was the reason why all these billionaires doesn't work with China anymore in his first term. And now, war with Iran causing all this mayhem globally. So now I guess he has to bring Elon Musk in the crew from Meta and everything. But China doesn't need them no more. You know what I mean? They move past
And they don't
it.
want them.
Yeah,
Right.
no, well, Trump is not going to, there, because China needs the U.S. The U.S. needs China. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
this is a move of death. If he thinks he's going to go to China and get help,
And he really did.
open straight.
He really did think that he was going to go to China and ask China to open the strait, and China
Yeah,
was going
I
to open
think
it.
Yeah, he's absolutely delusional. That is not going to happen.
And I think he took all those people with him because he thought that he was going to be able to say, look at all the business that we'll bring into your country. And I just, after stripping them all away, I just think that he's still, completely delusional. That's not how I would ever approach China. And I don't have no experience like Trump.
Yeah, well, and the fact, the whole attack on Iran was insane and came out of delusion. I mean, everyone is agreeing, even many conservatives, that
Yeah.
this is the greatest. I heard a conservative say yesterday, this is the greatest defeat the West has had since Napoleon invaded Russia.
Mm.
I mean, that's saying something.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it looks like they read.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's true, certainly it's probably the greatest defeat the U.S. has suffered. And it has suffered, quite a few defeats,
Right.
So Trump has no idea what to do.
No.
There was that article that Robert Kagan wrote in the Atlantic,
Yes.
and Kagan's is a dyed-in-the-wool hawk and
Right.
neocon. And his article was called "Checkmate in Iran,"
Mm.
and the point of his article was that Iran has checkmated Trump. I mean, that's really something for someone like that to say that. But it's true. I think everyone recognizes it. The world recognizes it. And I think many in the Trump administration recognize it. Whether Trump himself does or not, who knows? But um, he's hoping, his whole goal is to fake it till you make it. He
Yeah.
hopes that if he says enough stuff about imminent victory or peace or whatever, that he's going to be able to staunch the economic bleeding that's happening.
Yeah.
And he has been able to some extent. I think his words from the bully pulpit have probably kept the stock market afloat and whatnot, but I think that's only temporary.
Right.
At some point, his words are not enough to stop the inevitable. And I think the inevitable is bad. I mean, economically, I think we're headed towards a recession. If we're not already in one, we're going to have massive inflation. We haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg on that yet. In
Agreed.
terms of gas prices and consumer goods and the devaluation of the dollar. All that's coming, and I don't say that with relish. I mean,
No.
yes, I do want the U.S. empire to collapse. It has to happen, but it's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be pretty for us as Americans. I mean, everyone here will suffer. If your money becomes worthless, that's not a happy time for people.
And the
But
supply chain.
yeah, and then and then there'll be scarcity, right? Could be, interruptions in electricity and other things.
Yeah. Food.
Yeah. So, it's going to be a long and painful summer, is what we're being told. Oh, by the way, I guess an El Nino's on its way too. So it is
Oh
going to be
no.
a long, hot, and painful summer. And again, I'm
Yeah.
not happy about that. I'm not happy
No.
about that for my kids. But this was brought on by a choice that Trump and others made to attack Iran, and it was foolish. And again, the world will be paying a price for this for a long time, I think.
Right. Right. And I want people to know, to the little crowd, shouts out to the little crowd that has been consistently watching for the past 3 weeks. We love y'all. So I think it's important to know that before we attacked Iran, I know people were making jokes about the tariffs and all this stuff. And I also took part in that as well too. The economy for the rich, just want people to know, just for the rich stock market and everything with the tariffs and everything, we were paying out of pocket for that, but it actually was helping the United States empire stay afloat, especially with AI. I was looking into these AI institutions that they have coming together. They switching over to crypto and all this stuff. It was actually helping out with keeping the empire staying afloat, as much as it was a sacrifice for working people to have to pay into because they want to get things from outside of America. But this whole thing with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, he has no cards coming into China at all with this. You just, like we just discussed it, you destroyed our economy, put us in probably the most greatest depression we're about to have real soon. And this is global, all over the world, not just us. You know what I mean? And you come to China with these billionaires acting like there's going to be some type of, equal exchange here. No, they have no goals so far from what I've saw, Dan. They have not convinced the Chinese government to only buy American oil. Chinese government said they were still going to buy from Iran. They haven't convinced the Chinese government to make any of these new deals. And when it looks on the front pages of China, they're not even really talking about how Trump is there. They're talking about other stories on their front page news. So it's really just a snub It's like,
Yeah,
we have
it's a
to do this
sideshow.
too.
Yeah, it's a sideshow. It's, I was asked in an interview from Iran, oh, what do Americans think of Trump's visit to China? And my answer is, I don't think they're thinking about it at all. I don't
Right.
think anyone cares.
Right.
Right? They're
And did you
worried
see
about
Fox
they're
News?
watching the gas prices go up,
Right.
right? They're watching the
Right.
groceries go up. They don't care that
Right.
Trump's in China. They have no idea how that's going to help them, and it's not.
Right.
So, I think this is going to be a failed mission on his part. He's going to leave embarrassed and with his tail between his legs, is what I
Hmm.
think.
And Israel just announced that they are ready to attack Iran. I saw a press conference.
Oh,
So of course they're going to do that.
Of course it's going to happen. Of course the U.S. will join in. And it's terrible, but I think that's again in the cards right now. Um, and again, so there will be more pain and suffering from the
Yeah.
war itself and from the economic fallout. I mean, again, this thing is not going to get better. When you're in a hole, stop digging. And
Yeah.
Trump continues to dig.
Right. Right.
So, it's terrible. We're living through very dark times, I fear.
Let me look at my notes real quick because I know there was something else I want to bring up. If Amy, do you have a question real quick to ask Dan before I go on to the next part?
No, I just totally agree that I just feel like we're going to hit a point that we can't turn back from if we haven't done that already, in decline. And just what kind of mess, I don't know, once that ball starts rolling of not having gas for, once the airlines start, crumbling, because right now they have the problem with
The jet
overpricing,
fuel.
right?
Yeah.
So, and then just,
we already lost Spirit. That's what
yeah.
finally
gonna,
did Spirit in. I mean, they had their own problems. They were in bankruptcy, but they had a plan to get out of it. But then this totally threw them for a loop. But they're going to be the first of others.
many.
The others will go under. I mean,
and then the
and
supply
again,
chain is next. I think we're going to start seeing we're going to see prices start going up. They're going to be selective in what they can move where. I think it's going to be 1,000 times worse than COVID. And we're just going to see that kind of price gouging and inability to move things. I mean, because we don't, when I go to the grocery store, the food that I'm getting is really not from around Connecticut. It's not, depending on the store, but I just don't think that Americans are aware of how fragile our supply chain is and how easily that can be disrupted. We saw it in COVID, but I think that was nothing. That was from people being home.
Right.
It's when you cannot use tractor trailers to efficiently move goods anymore. And what are we going to do? Yeah. I mean,
you're going to see, highways empty. I mean, people are not going to be able to afford gas. Diesel's already gone up hugely. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I don't think it's going to be good. And unlike after the 2008 crisis, when, remember, the U.S. bailed out the banks with trillions of dollars, which, I'm totally against that they did that, but it probably did save the economy, or, such as it is. Now we're much more indebted than we were then, as a percentage of our GDP. Basically, the Treasury Department recently even said that the U.S. is insolvent. So there's no money this time to bail out the airlines, for example, or bail out others, So this is the worst case scenario, I fear.
Even getting Congress to agree on bailing out airlines or banks, or I just don't see. I don't know. I just don't see it being good. And I also see it moving a lot faster than we would expect. Like things are going to start happening and people are not going to have time to adjust. I just think it's going to be pretty crazy.
No, I
Pretty
agree. I
crazy.
think if you travel somewhere, you may end up getting stranded, because you're going to wake up and that airline canceled your flight or that airline's gone and whatever it is. I mean, that is, again, that's one example, but that's, we take so much for granted, especially
Yeah,
as Americans.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
In most countries, they don't, they know what a line for gas is, and they know what, nothing in America, everything happens on time for the most part. Anything you need, if you have enough money, you can get.
Right.
Now with
Within
Amazon,
an hour. Yeah.
you can even have it delivered to your door. So Americans aren't that used to inconvenience, but they will be horribly inconvenienced very soon.
Yeah. And
And
Latin America with Delcy Rodriguez had a comment of because she was in The Hague and she had to tell Donald Trump that we're not going to become a 51 state. Do you know anything about that? Like, why is that even in a conversation?
Oh, I think someone said something in the Trump administration that they want Venezuela to be the 51st state. But even aside from that comment, the truth is, I mean, they are, since the kidnapping of Maduro, they have become a bit of a vassal of the U.S., right? They've given up oil concessions, mineral rights, so that's why there's that talk, because I mean, they are being, they're being dominated now by the United
so
States.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking. And then now apparently the U.S. is preparing to invade Cuba. I mean,
right.
It's just unbelievable.
Where does it end?
When does it end?
This reminds me so much of Hitler, the overextending on border fronts and
Yeah, but again, you don't have the Red Army. Sadly, you don't have the Red Army to counter the U.S.
No true counter.
That like was the case in World War II.
Exactly. Who's going to stop us?
Well, guys, people are listening in. I know this is bleak, but not all of this. The working class, is fighting back here in the U.S. There is a lot like what happened to Met Gala with the Amazon workers getting a projector and showcasing all these billionaires going around that, hey, look,
Chris Small,
y'all not paying your fare. You're not helping us out. You're not doing what's right. Chris Small's getting beat up. We knew that was going to happen because the police protect the rich. There's a lot of. I like to stay optimistic that there's a lot of good.
No, and I agree. As activists, we have to keep hope alive. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you have to also understand what the balance of forces are and what you're up against.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that. I was just going to say, I think that rich people are going to start freaking out when they suddenly can't get access to private planes and we're going to start. I'm used to living paycheck to paycheck. I'm used to not being able to afford food a lot of times. I'm used to having limited. So I really think that this is going to hit the rich and that much harder than it hits us in the beginning. And then, I'm sorry. I'm just playing through that scenario of what that would look like and who it hurts first and how that rolls out. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like there's some hope in me that when it starts to hit the rich, that we're going to start to see a lot of people turning against the administration and joining our side.
I hope so.
That's
Well,
my
Dan
Pollyanna
Kovalik,
thought for the day.
Professor Dan Kovalik, sorry. Thank you
You
so
can call.
much
You
for.
don't. It's good. No, you don't have to worry about it.
I should just call you comrade.
I don't stand on ceremony. You can call me comrade. That's fine.
Well, thank you so much for your contribution to coming on this show, man. I really, really appreciate it. You help us out so much with keeping it educational and a good understanding, since you have literally been at these places that we talk about here on this show. So I really, really appreciate you taking the time out to come and talk to us.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, and take care.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day, my
Till
brother.
next time. Thank you.
Till next
Bye-bye.
time. So yeah, that was Dan Kovalik, everybody. We're gonna hang a little bit to talk about what's going on domestically real quick. Just about probably 10 minutes, because we got more for the show tomorrow, of course. But Amy, what you were saying, like with the restrictions and everything, like with the rich people being bothered, I really do think, that's happening already with.
Yeah.
But I don't think the billionaires will be as much careful
No.
or caring.
No.
A Patrick Bet David that's like worth $500 million. He's probably not going to care as much. But the ones that are like, the Cardi B's of the world, like she's always been outspoken. The J. Cole's, we're just successful millionaires of the world, they are going to see it as well too, while we continue to pay more. I think it'll be both. We paying more and them realizing how effed up it is.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, oh shoot, like what we're going to do, because his popularity rating is in the negative for 35 right now.
Yeah.
He's almost tied, if not tied, with Nixon.
With Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro lost 85% of his fucking followers. He had to do layoffs and shit, like
50%. They had to lay off 50% of his staff.
Right.
And I'm sure that number is going to grow. I think one of the things that I said that's totally incorrect is that it's really going to impact low income the hardest, because are people that are already overlooked and not taken care of in our system at all, that we take advantage of in the system, are going to, Trump's going to start attacking our social services even more than he already has. I just think we're going to see such horrible things happen. And I think that he wants that. He wants that chaos. If the country's chaotic, then he's not going to leave. He's going to declare martial law and prevent another election. So I think that he's doing part of this. I mean, part of this is to create the chaos to keep him in office.
Yeah,
it's
the
insane.
Supreme Court is all down with it as well too. With taking of districts,
it's exactly
and letting
like
them switch up.
It's just like it happened with Nazi. I almost said Nazi Israel, with Nazi Germany. The way that they took cracks that the Democrats, some laws that the Democrats had passed, and they started to take those cracks and, wedge them open to strip people of rights. And, there was this law about being able to arrest people, so we're going to use this now and start scooping people up. I think the overlapping between the way that Trump is behaving and the rise of Nazism in Germany is just insane. The patterns are so similar. And I recall reading that, the supply chains, and I know I keep going back to that, but like our food,
it's a big part.
I don't think people realize that like all of our beef comes from like 5 places. So if any one of those places are attacked with like a cyber attack, that could wipe out the movement of beef. Same with chicken. Chicken, I think, is like 8 places or something like that. The number of places and slaughterhouses, and it was even reduced. It was reduced even more, the number of slaughterhouses. I mean, and I've heard farms talking about the fact that now their cattle, there's like, the competition is just, there's no competition whatsoever. So they're not getting good money for livestock anymore. It's just I see the system starting to collapse, and I think once it starts to fall, there's no pulling it back, and it's so fragile. And I did some research on this, and it literally would take only 30 days for if there was like lack of food for people to start starving to death. So I just think that we're very fragile, and that we're going to start seeing. We're going to have to take a lot more action to halt this government on many levels. And that's the thing, is that there's so many fighting levels right now, right? There's restrictions to the First Amendment. There's ICE. There's this with gas, with Iran.
Yeah, so many.
And then, when he starts calling our kids in to come serve in the military.
Which already happening with the automatic registering. Yeah. And I think what is up to age 35 or something like that. I forgot what the cap was, but
it was already the first time I was ever so thankful to be old.
Right. Well, I'm like 2 years. I'm 34, so I still.
See you later.
Be drafted if they were. You know what I mean? I'm sad about that, but whatever. Alex Suarez is good, lucky bastard. But
yeah, me and Alex will carry on for you. But yeah, I just think that he's going to do a bunch of really wild things so that he can prevent having another election, which is his ultimate goal.
It's totally true. The Nazis use martyrism as well too. I forgot the name of that Nazi kid that was murdered. But they had songs about him, and they wanted to do things in his honor. I can't even think this kid's name. I'm thinking about right now, but he was the martyr for the Reich, and they already had their martyr, Charlie Kirk. And I don't like bringing him up a lot because his fans are vehemently always looking to find people that are talking junk about this guy, and we don't have the protection that other people have to defend ourselves against those assholes. So I don't like bringing him up as much, but yes, he's the one that they are trying to use to get the push for people to want to be patriotic, to want to be chauvinistic.
Was it Horst Wessel?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Horst Wessel. Yes. They made songs about him.
They did. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like their poster child of Nazism. Right. Crazy. And the marriage between corporation and government is also a fascist. It is the definition of fascism. The manipulation, the monopolies, and all that stuff. We're living in that time period where we are becoming a fascist country.
Yeah.
I was very, very in my earlier activism, not trying to accept that America could be a fascist country like it used to be during the Jim Crow era. But I am fully convinced now that we are definitely back with Jim Crow 2.0.
Yeah. I don't think that we ever left it. I think that we made really great progress right after the Civil War, and we did 40 acres and a mule, and then retracted all of that and started giving power back to the South. And, the South was whining, and then we paid them for the people that they had enslaved, but didn't pay the people that were enslaved. Like, we just did these, and then we allowed the South to start to rise. And instead of calling them the treasonous traitors that they were, we allowed them, they're talking about their family. And I have family that fought for the South in the Civil War. I could technically be a daughter of whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm mature enough to be able to say that they were fucking wrong. And it was treason. And
no, there's a reemergence of this mindset.
It's a cycle. It's a cycle that we've never gotten over, and it's like a 20-year cycle. And every time we make some tiny progress for more equality for Black people in America, the white people turn around and push it farther back. And I think that I just think that It's
No,
bad.
it's just it is exactly the same pattern of history repeating itself.
Yeah,
But let's end this soon. Let's end this now because
sure.
we got the pre-show, we got the show
Yeah.
tomorrow, guys. So
Okay.
we're going to get more in depth. I hope you all enjoyed the interview with Dan Kovalik. Please like, share, comment. That helps the algorithm. Please, I like how it's an average of 44 views on YouTube. Let's get that up. Let's make that higher. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
like
share
what
it on
you're
your
hearing,
social media.
yeah, definitely. Please share it on all your social media outlets, everything. If you'd like to support the show, we have the Cash App down there, Jabari Media. Please support the show. Whatever you can definitely helps out. We do not have corporate backers. We are all working class people giving a working class perspective. So with that said, without that being said, Amy, you got anything you want to say last before we? So we'll see you guys tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Alex Suarez as well too for our next installment of Team Resistance. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Blank period, yeah. On my black, brown, and indigenous. Gotta holler if you really feeling this. Gotta holler if you really real enough. Other rappers is delirious. Yeah, it's really that serious. Better holler if you really feeling me. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna live in abundance. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna. I gotta keep it 100. We gotta stop all the stunting. You know we coming from nothing. Yo, you talking about money, you bluffing. We gotta do something different. We gotta change how we live in. We gotta do better for women. We gotta do better for children. We gotta listen to victims, whether Jewish or Muslim or Christian. It doesn't matter your religion. You gotta stand against the system, or else you just another villain. How you just sitting there chilling?